the HOA president. She walked straight to the ripest section of my orchard, barely hesitating. She knew exactly which trees produced the premium fruit. She filled her bag methodically, checking for blemishes like she was shopping at a farmer's market. After 10 minutes, she climbed back over my fence and disappeared into the neighborhood. I replayed the footage 3 times. Maybe I was mistaken. I wasn't. The next morning, I drove to the HOA office. The building looked exactly like you'd expect. Stone for Wade. Framed mission statements about community integrity. Flags out front. Elaine was inside, mid-conversation with someone about parking violations. When she saw me, her smile froze for a fraction of a second. "Yes, I need to ask you something," I said calmly. "Why were you on my property at 1:47 this morning?" She didn't even blink. "I'm sorry." I placed my phone on her desk and pressed play. Her expression shifted slowly from polite confusion to irritation. "Oh," she said lightly. That, I repeated. She leaned back in her chair. "Those mangoes were going to rot. The trees are hanging over toward community property. It's essentially shared space." "It's not," I said. "It's my land, and you crossed a locked fence." She waved her hand dismissively. "You're not part of the HOA, so you might not understand how we manage resources here." Manage resources. She had just described theft as resource management. "I'd prefer you didn't come onto my property again," I said evenly. She smiled, but it wasn't friendly. "Let's not escalate something minor. Double quotes minor. I left without arguing. Not because I agreed. Because I had a feeling this wasn't over. I was right. Over the next 3 weeks, Elaine returned 6 more times. Sometimes alone. Sometimes with another board member standing lookout near the street. They were careful, but not careful enough. Every visit was captured. Every bag filled. Every fence climb recorded from multiple angles. I didn't confront her again. I didn't call the police. Not yet. Because something told me patience would matter. And then came the morning everything changed. It was just after 6 a.m. I was in my kitchen watching the live feed. While drinking coffee, Elaine appeared earlier than usual. This time she carried a much larger bag. She moved faster, more confident than ever. She crossed the fence in one smooth motion, filled the bag quickly, but greed changes timing. Instead of heading back immediately, she pushed deeper into the orchard, to the section I reserve for direct restaurant buyers, premium fruit, higher value. By the time she returned to the fence, the bag looked heavy. She grabbed the top rail and began her usual climb. That's when it happened. Near the post where she typically vaulted over, there was a small, old metal bracket I had marked weeks ago for removal. It wasn't sharp. It wasn't hidden. It simply protruded slightly from the wood. Her jacket caught mid-air. Her momentum twisted her sideways. The bag slipped, and she fell hard onto the ground outside the fence. The sound was sickening. Mangoes scattered across the pavement like evidence spilling from a broken vault. For a few seconds, she didn't move. Then the screaming started. I didn't hesitate. I called 911. "There's an injured trespasser outside my property line," I said calmly. "She appears to have fallen." When police arrived, the shift was immediate. Elaine clutched her wrist and pointed at my fence. "He set a trap. That fence is dangerous." I was inspecting a boundary issue. I met the officers at the gate. "I have security footage," I said. "We watched it together. Not just that morning. All of it. Every visit. Every theft. Every confident climb. The officer's expressions changed gradually from concern to disbelief. "Mum." One of them said carefully, "Why were you on his property multiple times over the last month?" Her answer stumbled over itself. She was cited for trespassing and theft on the spot. But she wasn't done. 3 days later, I was served with a lawsuit. She was suing me for negligence, claiming my fence was hazardous. She accused me of intentional harm. She alleged emotional distress and harassment through excessive surveillance. It would have been laughable if it wasn't so serious. Court day arrived faster than I expected. Elaine entered wearing a wrist brace and a carefully constructed expression of injury. She spoke passionately about community duty, about unclear boundaries, about how she was protecting shared property. Then my attorney stood. "Your Honor," he said, "we'd like to present video evidence." The courtroom lights dimmed. The footage filled the screen. One incident, then another. Then another. 7 total entries, clear as day. No ambiguity, no confusion, no boundary inspection, just repeated trespassing and theft. At one point, the judge paused. "The video. Double quotes Mrs. Porter," he said, adjusting his glasses. "Is that you climbing the fence with a tote bag?" Silence. Her attorney tried arguing context, intent, misunderstanding. But video doesn't misunderstand. The case collapsed in real time. Not only was her lawsuit dismissed, but the judge ordered her to pay restitution for stolen produce, court costs, and emergency response fees. It should have ended there. But the real twist came 2 weeks later. An anonymous envelope arrived in my mailbox. Inside were printed photos. Different nights, different angles, different people, other HOA board members climbing my fence. It hadn't just been Elaine. She had normalized it, encouraged it, maybe even organized it. I turned everything over to the authorities. An investigation followed, not just into trespassing, but into HOA conduct. Overall, that's when financial discrepancies surfaced. Misused community funds, unreported event sourcing, internal rule bending. Within a month, Elaine resigned. 2 other board members followed. The HOA issued a public statement about restoring trust and transparency. Neighbors who once avoided eye contact began stopping by my roadside stand, paying full price for mangoes. Funny how accountability changes behavior. Harvest season came again. The trees were heavy with fruit. But this time, no shadows crossed my fence at night. No tote bags. No entitlement disguised as authority. Just wind in the leaves. Sometimes I stand by that same fence corner, the one where she fell, and think about how differently this could have gone. If I had confronted her angrily the first night, there would have been no pattern. No proof, no undeniable record. Patience didn't just protect me. It exposed everything. Here's the truth most people don't understand. Entitlement grows quietly. It feeds on small compromises. It assumes no one is watching. But boundaries matter. And when someone crosses them repeatedly, they eventually trip over the very line they ignored. Elaine thought titles made her untouchable. She forgot something simple. Land remembers. Cameras remember. And actions, no matter how confident, always leave a record. Justice didn't come fast, but it came clean. And sometimes that's even better.